the Hamlet City Council meeting to order. First item of business is we will have a moment of silence. Amen. Council, you have before you this time the agenda for tonight. What are your wishes on that?
Move that we adopt.
I second.
A motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Moving along to item number 4. Needed approval for the minutes of the August 10th, 2021 regular meeting.
Make a motion, we accept it.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any further comments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Item number 5, we come to that point in the council meeting where if there's anyone here that wishes to make comments to the council on issues that are not on the agenda for tonight, we'd ask you to please come forward and say your piece.
Is that for us?
Yes, ma'am. That's for you. Come on up and state your name and
My name is Jean Douglas, and I live at 412 Pine Street in Hamlet. And first, I would like to thank you all for the improvements that you have been making on Pine Street. I just want to continue so that our area can be beautified. But my main concern tonight is everything that's happening by this little store. I don't know the name of the store, but it's called West Hamlet Grocery. And just for the past couple of months, it's just been some dangerous things going on in this community. And I've been noticing, I've been going home my lunch break, and I've been watching, the police and stuff in the area. But I just want to know, is this going to continue so that we can feel safe? Because like I'm saying, you have Munro Avenue School over there. You have kids that catch the bus and walk from school, and you never know. And I'm just very concerned about our community right now. Because every morning you wake up, you're always hearing about shootings and death. At one time it was Diamond Heights. I know we're not a part of Diamond Heights, but now it's like our little community is getting worse than Diamond Heights. And I would like to know, what can the council do to make us feel safe?
well, let me tell you this, that I know that we're giving extra patrol to that area up there. But part of our problem right now is we're about 6 officers short. And that's hurting us badly. The manager might wish to address this because he's familiar with the issue also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your comments and certainly your concern. There have been several incidents in that area, and we have increased patrol. We've also taken some other additional steps to be able to be more responsive, and including using some of the nearby security cameras and do some other things to make sure we can not just respond to the incidents, but follow up with appropriate charges and things of that nature. But it is very much on our radar and is getting a lot of attention from the police department, and I appreciate you bringing it to our attention tonight.
Are you seeing more of that coming from the store or from the apartments and the crowd that's on the street across from the apartment?
I wish it was a way that you could stop that crowd on the street. Because it's like you always see, it's a certain crowd.
We can do that. That's violating the law when they're in the street.
Yeah, they have little stools, they sit there, and it's like, I don't know, it's like it's something about that store.
Yeah.
And at one time, it used to be the other store down here on the other end, but things have improved. I guess it's according to the owners, and they must not let everybody just stay up and hang around there. But I think the owners need to do something as well. Maybe they can put cameras up. And just don't let people just hang around the store, because it really don't look good for our community. And then I would sure you be coming from school, anything can happen.
No, and they come up there, and when they congregate in the streets with the alcohol and whatever else.
And they do, they have that open containers.
And they have they're violating several ordinances on there.
Yeah.
But what one thing can do, don't be afraid to do it, is report it to the police department.
Ms. Douglas, I've also had conversations with the chief on
Yes.
that, and because he's not from here, so I've availed myself to make sure he's aware of the hot spots of Hamlet, and that is definitely a one, but just to let you know that we're thinking about it, we're talking about it, I have talked to him, and I'm gonna get with him on some days just to make him aware of the different areas of the city.
And I would
that I
like to say
know of.
that I have also talked with the chief, and I've talked with the city manager about that area. And it's a true, real, and I would be afraid also of the children to come up there. And I don't know unless you have some residents over there that don't mind stepping up to the plate.
And you know, I don't even live in the area. I live on Pine Street, but it's a concern.
Yeah, I know where you're at.
Because of the community, because, you know, back in the day, it used to take that village to raise that child. So we need that village to come back together and do something and plan. So right now, we're trying to deal with COVID. That's bad enough. But dealing with feeling like our children can't go to school safe, and then, so far in Richmond County, we're having all these bomb threats. We don't know what this world is, what's happening to this world. But I want my children, not only my child, I'm speaking out on every child, to grow up and feel safe, be able, at one time, my girls used to walk from Pine Street, and they could go to that little store. I think it was Mr. Charlie that owned that store. They could walk, well, I wouldn't dare trust little Chloe to leave home, walk to that store, because I feel my child would not come home, back home.
I would be afraid today also.
I am afraid.
And Matt, we do have some leverage there. The store, I mean, they've got to abide by the ABC laws and stuff, and even the apartment management, they've got to abide by certain things, and we need to use all the leverage we can for both of those entities to make sure we get that stretch
We
cleaned up.
had some, yeah, we had some previous problems, you know, with the store up on the corner up there, and they suspended their alcohol license, and it sounds like now they moved down to West Hamlet. West Hamlet has got a ABC license.
See, I don't know. I really don't know.
I think they do.
If they do, maybe Chief needs to coordinate the ALE on that then.
Yeah, we're working it from all
Okay.
approaches, you know, by any means necessary.
And the bad thing about it, last thing I'll say, the bad thing about it is most of those folks don't live there.
That's
That's
exactly
right.
They're
right.
coming in and they're causing trouble. Same thing we dealt with in the 90s in Buttercup and on Thomas Street and Taylor Place. The people that live there are not the ones that's causing the problems. It's people getting run off from this community, and they're coming over there, and we need to get on that.
I agree.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else have anything? Okay. If,
Mayor, I do
Yes.
have Mr. Morrison who wanted us to
oh,
call.
okay, yeah, give him a call if you would.
And Google Voice will try to connect you.
Hello?
Hey, is this Gerard?
Yes.
Hey, Gerard, this is Matt at the Hamlet City Council meeting. You're on the floor for your public comment.
Okay, thank you, man. Hope all is well. You want to cue me up, but it's ready right now?
Right now?
Yes, go ahead.
All right. Good evening, Mayor, Council. Hope everybody's doing well and their families are safe in this wicked pandemic situation we're in. But I just wanted to take some time to invite you all out. October 2nd will be the 13th annual John Coltrane Music Edutainment Festival, where we bridge education with entertainment. And I waited to say it here, but because this will be the second year that we're doing it virtually. And all these years, you know, I've been wanting to see my council out. So hope this is the year that we can do that. And our theme is always polishing the diamonds in our own backyard. And we'll be featuring regional talent. We primarily focus on North and South Carolina. And with edutainment, I tell folks we're education and entertainment. So you're going to learn about different folks from the region. A lot of them who I've spoken about doing council meetings. And I still say J. Kenneth Lee doesn't get his due. And I'm curious, how many people have, by show of hands, how many people have read the book that J. Kenneth Lee did? It's in the library in the reference section. He was the first African-American to finish Chapel Hill's law school, first African-American on the North Carolina Banking Commission. He was the lawyer for the A&T 4 with the sit-in movement. And he's basically from the area below Charlotte Street, behind where the ABC store is, well adjacent to that. But with Coltrane, another son of the soil. We use that name to highlight it, but we talk about different things going on in the region. And in those 21 counties, 13 are in North and 8 in South Carolina. So we focus on the Sand Hills as well as the PD region. And we're still have some spots left. And I called in tonight to announce that this year we're going all virtual because putting safety first, we don't want to ever be labeled as a super spreader event. And we want to consider everybody's safety. So this year, the phone number is 347-286-8742. Again, that's 347-286-8742. And the email is the number 4, jcmef@gmail.com. It's basically the number 4 in the acronym for the festival at Gmail. If you send your name, county, state, and your talent, or if you're just interested in being a participant and inside it, we're going to be using Zoom, and the account we have now, it holds about 1,000 people. So we'd love to have you all tune in, and especially with council greeting as citizens. And now I can honestly say, with that big mural we have out there, John Coltrane is smiling on all of us, so we applaud that. And again, the phone number is area code 347-286-8742, and the email is the number 4, jcmef@gmail.com. And we want folks to either call or text or email, and then from there we'll have you registered so that you will be allowed to come in on the Zoom. And we're looking, we feature all types of music. It's not just jazz. It's family-friendly ballads, beach blues, bluegrass, classical country, folk, funk, gospel, go-go, hip-hop, jazz, R&B, neo-soul, reggae, reggaeton, rock, salsa, swing, and others are welcome. And we're always looking for talent as far as artists, authors, poets, dancers, designers, models, musicians, producers, and singers. So we'd love to have you all out and appreciate your service and sacrifice. And I thank you all again for the 30th anniversary recognition from the Imperial Foods thing, because one of my cousins was in there and 2 that were in school with me were there. But I was glad to see Hamlet and Reverend LeGrand go ahead and recognize, even though it was a tragic tragedy, but recognize the folks who did endure and survive and their families. Because I think, just like any relationship, no acknowledgement is always a bad route. So appreciate that acknowledgement. And I also want to appreciate Fire Chief Calvin White and his retirement and sacrifice and service to the city. So thank you all. And again, the phone number 347-286-8742. And I hope all are well. And thank you, Matt.
Thank you, Gerard. Have a good evening.
Thank you, Gerard. We appreciate
You
it.
too.
Okay. As we're still in the comment period, this gentleman just came in. Did you have something you wanted to address, council?
Yes, please.
Please come up and state your name.
Hi, my name is James Hall. My concern is, I just purchased a property on Washington Street. And for the past month, there have been 2 shootings right there at the house that I just purchased. One of the guys passed away. Just last week, there was a shooting. But my thing is, the type of involvement and things that goes on across the street in that area, that little complex over there, it's constantly. And I just sit there on my porch, which I just purchased. I was like, wow. Anyone, I wasn't expecting this, But it's sad, it's chaotic, it's always problems, it's always issues going on over there, And it's an infected drug area. And it's constantly, I sit there and watch cars pull up, the guys serving them, pulling away. All times of night. It's crazy. So my thing is, I would please ask for you guys to try to get some, some assistance up there with, like a community watch in the area, or, you know, some police, you know, to come in or something, you know, because it's getting out of hand, it's crazy.
We had a discussion on this before you came in, and we're policing that area up there as heavy as we can, but right now, we're 6 police officers short. And when you're looking at a department that's only got 21 officers in it to start with, you're hurting. But we are working on that issue, and if Mr. Christian had anything further he'd like to put into that. But like I say, we're working on it as hard as we can.
I don't have anything to add beyond the fact that we're doing everything we can, and we appreciate you bringing those items to our attention tonight. And anytime you see something, say something. Never be afraid to call the police, and someone will respond to help you with whatever your concerns are. And also, in addition to the meetings, you can contact me, the police chief, and we'll help you however we can.
I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the address of your home?
702.
702 what?
Washington.
Washington Street? And also, just to let you know, we discussed this before you came in, so
Okay.
it's on our radar.
Okay.
Yeah, it's frustrating to us too, because, you're part of the city, and that's
Yes.
what we're supposed to be looking after.
Yes.
But we do have some other problem areas in the town that are having issues, and just a lot of times late at night trying to police all these areas, and you're shorthanded. I mean, even the police chief's working night shift. And, but if you could find some people up there that would get organized for a community watch,
Community
just
watch.
contact the manager or the
Yes.
police chief, and they will work with you on
I
it.
most definitely will. I thank you so much.
Yes, sir, thank
All right,
you. We
thank you.
appreciate you
Thank you.
coming tonight. Is there anything else, anybody else? Okay. If not, we'll close the comment section. We'll move along to item number 6, consideration of updated flyer policy. Council, you have a copy of that before you.
I make a motion, we approve the recommendation.
Okay, got a motion?
I'll second that. Everything else is going up, so.
Yeah.
Got a second? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. Thank you. Okay, item number 7, Ms. Belinda Whitley has served as an ETJ member of the planning board for 3 years. Her term expires on October the 8th. As ETJ members are appointed by the county commission, and what they have asked is that the council to vote to recommend the commissioners reappoint Ms. Whitley as an ETJ representative on the planning board.
I make a motion, we reappoint her.
Got a motion? Second. Have a second? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Okay. Item number 8, unfortunately, we're back in the nitty-gritty on this thing. Consideration of a COVID vaccine incentive policy. There's a copy of that in your packet, and I know that you've been made aware of it. What are your wishes at this time, council, as far as?
I make a motion that we approve the recommendation and consideration on the COVID vaccine policy, incentive program.
Second.
Okay, I got a motion and a second. Matt, would you comment on that?
Yeah, the vaccine incentive policy has been very well received by our staff. We have some baseline numbers of about half of our staff is vaccinated at this time. And next month, I look forward to reporting a higher number than half. So we'll be able to see the effect that this incentive policy has had by how many folks get vaccinated between now and the deadline established in the policy. So.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Thank you. Item number 9 is consideration of the first quarter budget amendments. We got that in front of us tonight. What are your wishes on that, council?
I've read over it, and I'll make a motion that we approve the first quarter budget amendments to the budget.
Okay, I've got a motion.
Second.
Have a second. Any further comment? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Thank you. Item number 10, we have before us tonight in large form What this is the engineering services agreement with LKC Engineering, and USDA has reviewed and approved the engineering service agreements. Staff and representatives of LKC Engineering will answer any questions from council. This is regarding the sewer plant upgrade. Council, what are your wishes on this?
I move that we accept the agreement as presented.
I'll make a second.
Okay, I've got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Opposed likewise. How long down the road are we looking before we put a shovel in the ground?
Probably 18 months or so. Well, there will be many more procedural steps that we will continue to bring to council along the way as well. But it's a long process, but it's very much needed.
Okay.
Something we've been working on for a long time.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And looking at these hourly rates, I wish I'd have been on survey.
Item number 11, approval of tax releases. You have a copy of that in front of you also.
Move that we approve.
Second.
Okay, that was quick. I got a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise. Very good. That takes care of that. Moving along to item number 12, city manager's report.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to thank the community and all the participants that came out to the Imperial Foods Memorial Service. That was a somber occasion, but it was very well attended, and I was very grateful to see everyone there, and of course all of our fire folks and first responders from around the county. It was very moving, so thanks everyone for that. As I mentioned a moment ago, the vaccine incentive program has been very well received by our staff. It has also given us some baseline information of where we stand as far as vaccines go, and hopefully we get more folks vaccinated, because that is the way out of the situation that we're in. Right now, the Seaboard Festival meets on Thursday. There's several events coming up, Seaboard Festival being the closest one. I do not think that there's any plans to cancel the event at this time, but we're very much monitoring the situation, and I'll be attending their meeting on Thursday, and certainly any updates from that I will bring, we'll announce publicly and bring to council or the public as needed. A couple other events on the horizon that were kind of dates we're keeping an eye on is the traditional tree lighting ceremony and the Christmas parade. Those are things, again, we're planning for the best, or hoping for the best, and of course, making sure that we're monitoring the situation and adapting as needed. Those dates are for the tree lighting is November 29th, and the Christmas parade, we looked at multiple dates after the conversation at the end of the last month's council meeting, and the date that we've fallen on is the traditional date of the Thursday, December the 9th. So that concludes my reports, but I'm of course available to answer any questions that you may have.
Okay. I guess that means you're doing a good job.
I hope so.
Excellent.
Oh, we're hungry.
Yeah, we'll move along to comments from council. Mr. Martin.
No, the only question I have or thought was, if by chance, I had a lady that called me from out of town that usually comes to the Seaboard Festival every time. In fact, they set up a tent down here in front of the post office. But she asked me about the festival, whether or not it would be canceled, and I told her I didn't know that the committee hadn't met yet to determine for sure if they would. So I told her I didn't know for sure. But if the Seaboard Festival, if it was canceled, how about the parade? Would we fall in line with the parade being canceled? I mean, the Seaboard Festival and then the parade, or if they cancel theirs, would we cancel the parade? Or
I mean, really, it's up to council and us to decide if we want to, have events or cancel events. But certainly, we're just kind of it depends on how the cases go and things of that nature. I haven't heard any discussion of canceling of Seaboard yet. but they haven't met since, you know, I mean, things have kind of really escalated over the last several weeks or a couple months, really. But that question is really up to council, whether or not we host those events or proceed kind of in the traditional sense, or maybe do something alternative that maybe helps accommodate the risk of large gatherings and things of that nature. But those gatherings are all outdoors, and we can, of course, you know, people can distance, you know, whether or not we can enforce the distancing or not is obviously we can't do that, but.
Well, that's what I was thinking about, social distance and stuff.
I think it's kind of like I said a moment ago, you know, hope for the best and plan for the worst and make sure that we have some alternatives if things are, you know, not looking good, but I don't have much more clarity than that.
I don't think the Seaboard Festival Committee is, they're not planning to cancel.
Yeah.
If that cancels, it's gonna be because of a mandate from a governmental mandate.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna cancel.
Okay.
What's the status on the senior center right now? Are they closed right now?
The senior center is operating as a meal pickup site.
Right.
And is doing events that don't require direct contact, so.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah.
Mr. Martin, anything else?
No, sir, that's all.
Mr. Sellers?
Yes. I would like to thank the attendees for coming and expressing their concern for the safety of their community. And I'd like to ask them if they would have a formal group, concerned citizens, safety, whatever you want to call it, organized. And when you call for a meeting, please invite me. And so we can come and we can hear the ideas and help you with the problem. I've gone by there and I've seen it firsthand several times. And it's a dangerous situation, just pure dangerous, more especially for the children. And not the adults included, but the children. And then it's a real, and I think that maybe the apartment people over there that owns those apartments, that's just a slum area the way I look at it. And if you do have a community or street meeting, please invite Oscar Sellers, and I'd be glad to attend and help any way I can. That concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Stewart?
I'll just say thanks to the city for the Imperial food. That's something we definitely never want to forget here in Hamlet. Ms. Douglas, Mr. Holmes, I do believe. Hall. Thank you for coming. That's how we get stuff done. Coming to the meetings. We all want to live in a safe community, and we want every one of our communities as safe as possible. We want our police to be proactive instead of reactive. And we're rebuilding. So I'm on board with you. Please invite Maurice Stewart as well. Even before, if we want to chat, I'm all on board. I grew up on these streets of Hamlet, so definitely invite me to that. I'll say I missed the last meeting due to the funeral of my good friend and fraternity brother, James Clemens. And I just want to thank the city for, things that they did, on the day of his funeral and going to Southport. Hamlet was the last city that his body, convoyed through, and just to see the police officers and the flags and everything just going up was well received, and the family thanks the city of Hamlet for that, and thank you so much to the Smart family. Want to tell them blessings to them on their recent loss, and again, thank you to the people coming. I always say we want as many citizens to come to the meetings as possible. And to all the city employees, thank you. We've had quite a bit of things going on recently within the city, so we haven't missed anything, haven't missed a beat. Thank you, Matt, Gail, everybody a part of the city. Can't thank you enough. That's it, sir.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Covington?
Well, first I want to say that the fact that you're here is showing that there's an interest in that community. I've never heard, and I've been here too long, but I've never heard anybody show up at this council meeting complaining about the safety in their neighborhood. And when you start to complain and you start to make a noise, you begin to make it uncomfortable for those people who think they are so comfortable right there on that corner. And I think that's the way, one of the primary ways we get rid of these individuals in our community is it's just not easy anymore, and a little bit of pressure and they seem to move. You know, they moved from the other store to this store. Well, let's hope they move on out of town. So I think it's important that you encourage your neighbors to say, we don't want this in our community. And I know people always worry about backlash, but sometimes standing up isn't the easy thing to do, but it's always the right thing to do. And I appreciate you coming and making your concerns known publicly. Also, I want to say that this, I guess, is our first full month of Calvin's retirement. Our fire chief retired really effective September the 1st. He's no longer coming to work, I'll put it like that. But he was very much an instrumental part of the service for the Imperial Foods Fire and made a moving speech about what this had meant to him and how it had affected him. And Calvin has been here a long time, since he was a little boy riding a bicycle back and forth to the fire department. So his words resonate with our community, and we're going to miss him. He served this city so well. And I'm proud to have known him through his entire service to the community, and I wish him many days of a honey-do list, because that's what his wife said he had to do. The next thing is, I'm, like Matt, looking forward to an improvement in statistics about our vaccine, as far as our vaccinated employees. I think it's important, especially when they're getting so much press about the people who've refused to take the vaccine in the healthcare industries and places like that. And it just, I don't know, unless you can segment population into all the unvaccinated people go here and all the vaccinated people go here. I don't know what's going to happen. So I applaud you, Matt, for coming up with a program that's got enough teeth in it to make it financially interesting to get your shots. The last thing I want to ask about, and several people have asked me about this, and I don't know why, but Halloween this year is on Sunday. We have in the past considered observing this on another day. It's also Seaboard Festival weekend. So is this something we're going to meddle with?
You don't know. Need to do something?
I know that considering the Seaboard Festival meeting is timed after this meeting, I kind of wish it was the other way around so I could give you the updates. But I do know that they have last year it was on Halloween. The Seaboard Festival was on Halloween, and a lot of their programming and some of their activities were Halloween themed, and they had some fun things planned. And I think that they're continuing that into the Seaboard Festival. So in addition to that, the city hasn't planned anything up until this point, but I just wanted to share that with you because I know they've carried over some of those plans from last year to this year.
They were really interested in that last year.
Right. In the past, when Halloween was on Sunday, we've sometimes asked that it be observed on Saturday night. So I didn't know if this was something we were going to consider this year or not.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
I know people have asked, so.
I'm sure some of the other cities are going to do the same thing.
Just take a look at it. And that's all I have.
Let's do it.
Okay, thank you. Mr. McQueen?
Yeah, just a couple of things. I'm gonna put a little work on you at some point here in just a minute, but.
That's all right.
For the folks that came about the situation up there on West Avenue in the store and all, it's been like that for years. It's time for it to stop. It's time for it to permanently stop. It's time to take action, aggressive action to stop that situation. Maurice said it best. You need to be proactive instead of reactive. Unfortunately, in the entire United States of America, the police are now reacting, and they're not being proactive. And it's not through their fault. It's through the fault of people in the communities that cause problems for the most part, with limited exceptions. And we've got the ability to use leverage from the store and the apartment complex. And when you start wanting to shut something down and do abatements on them, then they're going to clean up their own, or they're going to go out of business. And I think this council made it abundantly clear to the city manager and, in essence, to the police chief to make something happen, and make something happen quick. All right, okay. The next thing, kudos on the vaccine thing. I really like that, especially since it's not costing us anything. It's you know, it's costing money, but it's not coming out of our citizens' budget. I would like for us to look at moving forward. I know last year, and we talked briefly about it earlier, there was a period of time where the U.S. government, I think, mandated and even paid for people that missed time, the time that was missed. And then that ended. Then we went into our folks having to use personal time to take off when they're sick. I really would like to get us to look at something to where someone's in a quarantine situation, if someone is positive for COVID and has to be out, I would like to look at maybe doing something where that person does not have to use their time. And the reason I say that is because we don't know if they're catching it, you know, working. Every city employee, unless you can think of just a few exceptions, you know, maybe sewer plant, water plant, things like that, interact with the public. And I just would like to know that our employees are getting at least some of the same benefits that some of the other employees and other agencies are around. I know that there are some governmental agencies that are doing that, and then there are some that are not doing it. But I guess more a question for the council, is that something that the majority would want to look into? And if so, charge Matt with looking into it and coming up with something. It's something we could do, you know, that would be an incentive for the employees. I mean, if they catch COVID because they're coming to work, you know, is that something that we
were paying them?
Yeah, that was what Mr. McQueen is referring to is from, or part of it. It was part of the CARES Act, which was passed early on in the pandemic, which required employers to have paid leave up to 80 hours, or essentially 2 weeks of paid leave for anyone in a quarantine or a COVID situation. That ended at the calendar year. This city council extended that through the budget year, so an additional 6 months. And I think what we all have experienced is everything was fine through the summer, so it hasn't come up again. But now with the recent spike in cases since, you know, the last several weeks or a couple months, we're seeing this surge, and we had as many cases as we've had on our city staff. And so I think what you're suggesting, Mr.
That's what I
McQueen,
got to thinking about it.
Mr. McQueen on that.
I saw your email about how many we had out.
Yeah.
And I mean, those folks could have
That's
got, could have got sick here.
Yeah.
And, you know, we're not talking
probably
about
did.
covering the entire time they're out, but, you know, I know the county's doing it, I think like the CARES Act was.
Right.
I know other agencies around, has done that as well. But, I mean, from my perspective, I would like to see us do something with that, especially since, you know, we're trying to make sure, you know, I think we've got one of the best programs to try to get people vaccinated. I mean, I think that's one of the best things that I have seen to try to make it happen. And the ultimate goal is to get as many people as you can vaccinated, right? And just for the record, I'll go on record right now. I got vaccinated. 100% vaccinated, right? I don't care who knows it. I want everybody to know it. Because that is the way that we're going to stop what we're dealing with right now. Misinformation and all of this and that and the other. We need to get as many people as we can vaccinated, but we also need to make sure we get people, if they're sick, to stay home. And I just wonder if somebody wakes up and they're sick, but they don't have time to take off, or they got very limited time to take off, are they going to come to work, or are they not going to come to work? In my opinion, it's something that we could do. We got funds to do it with that wouldn't cost.
It's not gonna cost us anything because we're paying
Would
them
that be
anyway.
just for the frontline workers, or would it cover the whole base?
Well, I mean, that's part of what,
All the city work.
yeah, that's part of
All the
what,
city, well, wouldn't it
Yeah.
be just a frontline?
I would hope it would be all the
people,
workers. I
all
mean,
the
because
city
everybody's interacting with
Sure.
with folks. I mean, that's just my opinion, and I wanted to bring that up because we had 7 or 8?
Yeah.
9 recently. I mean, that's 1/10 of our total workforce right there.
Could somebody put a motion on this?
Well, I want to add that, you know, I have no problem with reimbursing them. I think this gets a little hairy about people reimbursing people for COVID to keep them home, but I think it needs to be documented that they were in fact
Oh, yeah.
positive. You know, you can't stay home because you think you're positive. You gotta get up and go get tested.
Absolutely,
That's right.
absolutely.
You're not gonna lay there 2 or 3 days and say, I think I've got COVID. You're
Yeah.
gonna get up, go be tested, and you can get tested in a situation.
Oh, yeah.
And you can
Yeah.
get your results in 6 to 12 hours if necessary.
And also, excellent point, but to go a step further with that, whenever that does come around, the differences with quarantining is actually tied to your vaccination status. So if you're vaccinated, you know, you don't have to quarantine like somebody else would.
Right.
So if you choose not to get it, then that shouldn't be available to you.
Right.
But if you, vaccinated or unvaccinated, if you actually have the disease and have to be out, I just wish we would go back to what we were doing before.
I support that.
And perfect example, yeah, that was.
Yeah, don't lay
yeah.
around the house 2 or 3 days
Motion,
thinking you've
Jesse.
got COVID.
I'll make a
Come to
motion
work
that,
thinking you got COVID.
I'll make a motion that we, get a program set up for the COVID,
Like the CARES
relief.
program.
Yeah.
Revert back to the CARES program.
If I may, when we adopted, or when we continued the CARES Act policy, we adopted a policy then.
That's it.
Okay.
So we could simply readopt or extend that policy that,
Right.
you know,
Can we
retroactively.
retro from?
Yeah,
retro
and go from when it terminated to maybe the end of the year, I might suggest, or any other amount of time that council sees fit, making any exceptions or changes as have been mentioned here tonight, as well. So we're not really starting from scratch on this. We
Right.
have this ready to go.
Yeah,
And I
well,
think in that you need to incorporate these new quarantine
Guidelines.
Requirements.
guidelines, whatever they are.
Yeah.
I don't know what you call them, but
Yeah.
anyhow, because they're not as stringent as they were
right.
the first go-around.
Yeah.
Good deal.
And if you're, like he said, if you're vaccinated, it's a different quarantine. If you're not vaccinated, it's another quarantine, but definitely they got to go be tested.
I agree.
Okay.
I second.
All right, I got a motion and a second
Councilman
to
Sellers.
continue this till the end of the year, is that correct?
CARES Act, right?
Yeah, that'd be fine. Through the
Okay.
end of the year.
I mean, we can look at it.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed likewise.
That's a
Thank
good
you.
move.
Okay. Yes, what else?
Just extend sympathy to the Clemens family. Sheriff Clemens was a great guy. He was a good friend, and I was honored to be on his force as an auxiliary deputy for several years, and also to the Smart family on the loss of their loved one and family member, and for any other citizen of the city, county, that has gone through tough times. There's a lot of tough times going on now, folks.
They
I
are.
mean, it's not just COVID. I mean, there's a lot of tough times. There's a lot of sickness, a lot of death, and we really need to be in prayer that everybody's headed in the right direction. And other than that, that's it.
Okay, thank you. Back several years ago, while Ms. Covington was not on the council, we were having, well, I'm trying to say, I didn't want you to forget. Anyway, several years ago, we were having tremendous problems out in Briarwood subdivision, out there off Highland Avenue. And we had a number of the people that lived out there that came together, and we sat down, had meetings with them, and we got the community watch set up. And it has really improved that area out there. But one of the biggest things is, if you see something, you need to call it. You need to call 911. Say, this is going on out here right now, and then the police know that that's the time to go over there. And so that would be a help in itself. But again, I've seen the community watch work, and it's still working today. And so that would be a good thing if we get it started over there. Calvin, I'm like Abby. I'm going to miss Calvin. I've known Calvin ever since he started out coming over here to work riding a bicycle. And listen, he's a super guy. He has done a fantastic job, and he's really going to be missed by the city and all the citizens. I enjoyed the Imperial Foods recognition. This was a 20th anniversary, but we need, 30th? 30th anniversary, and we need to remember this every year. And we had some great people there. We had some people that spoke that were at the fire. We had some people that spoke who had a lot of friends there, and it's not something that we need to forget, and we need to remind the younger people to remember it also, because it made changes all over the United States. And it was a big thing. And recognizing people that we're going to miss, of course, Jim Smart, we're going to miss Jim. But the other one that we're really going to miss, I don't know how many people knew him, was Mr. Bob Wright, 96 years old. For many, many years, you went into the post office to the counter up there, you saw Bob Wright, and he was always upbeat and just a fantastic gentleman, and I hated to see him pass. Lately, the city employees, I mean, they're really working. Everywhere I see them, they're working, and it's really appreciated the job that they do for the city and the citizens of Hamlet, and they have a really good attitude about it. Other than that, that would be all I would have this evening, and I would ask at this time for a motion to go into closed session per General Statute 143, 31811, A, 3, and 6 for attorney-client privilege and personnel issue.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed likewise. We stand in closed session.